Okay, so this is a bit of a test. Using YouTube to improve the efficacy of my thinking. Alright, I guess technically the correct way of saying this is I'm making YouTube videos to improve the efficacy of my thinking. Okay, so I wonder if there's like I'm also not super familiar with Excalibur, so I'm also using this as a chance to get a little bit more familiar with Excalibur. I really want to like do a little doodle to like represent a brain. I guess my brain will be like a pink orb thing. Yeah, okay. I guess this is my brain. Yeah, good enough. Good enough. Okay. All right. So this is my brain now, I guess. And I could probably pull in a YouTube logo a lot faster than I could draw it, but I will draw one nonetheless. Just want one more line. Okay, this is my beautiful YouTube logo. Oh my goodness. Okay, perfect. Great. Here is my beautiful YouTube logo. I want to make YouTube videos to improve the efficacy of my thinking. So I would say that like right now, my thinking feels like it's at like maybe at 20% capacity. The plan is that basically by making YouTube videos, I'm going to have to learn to think in a lot of different ways. A lot of skills that like go into YouTube. And one of the skills that I'm doing a poor job of representing right now. There's like, there's speaking, there's scripting. What else is there? There's like editing. There's posting and public. I'll just say publishing. There's publishing. And for smaller YouTubers, you definitely have to do some degree of like promoting. Also filming, right? Yeah. Which I've got like, so lighting right now. Yeah. Okay. So like, let's try to organize these. So there's all these different skills that all go into YouTube. All right, so yeah, all of these skills are prerequisites for making a YouTube video. So really what's happening is not this at all. Yeah, there we go. Hold on, wait. Yeah, so I'm using some percentage of my brain right now because I spend like, let's say like, if I'm being really honest, like I spend the majority of my brain power on communication. I spend an egregious amount of time learning, like too much time. Okay, so I'm using some percentage of my brain right now, and the majority of it is going towards like these two things, right? And like, so this is a whole new subset of stuff, but then also what's important, bop, 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 bop. Okay, the whole thing is that this is a workflow, right? This like creates a coherent through line, right? Like the whole way through. Obviously, you can just see like everything is moving in the same direction. Like things have to happen in order, and in like project management, because I spent a lot of time trying to like figure out what's going on. This is also like called like basically like waterfall, and there's a lot of benefits to things being linear like that. I'll even slash that in. Waterfall / linear. This is a waterfall / linear way of thinking. So all of this is a process, and it's a linear thing where like everything happens in sequential order, linear order in order to get to an end result, which is great. So a big problem with how I think now, or at least what I've realized about how I think now, is so you can just like learn a lot of stuff and it'll just be in your head, and that's it. And then sometimes you can communicate it, and that's great. This is what I spend my time doing. I'm starting to have more coherent thoughts now. Okay. Yeah, so I spend a lot of my time learning and communicating. Um, and communicating is useful because communication leads to relationships are like, I don't know, this is like one of top like the top three most important things. Relationships, health, and wealth. Health, wealth, and relationships. So communication is great because it results in one of like the big three things that you need in order to like gain some kind of happiness. And these all play into each other. And in the middle of all of these is happiness. So this is basically what happiness is comprised of. So this is good because I learn a lot, and then I learn stuff, um, or it goes into my head. Like the point is okay, I learned some stuff, and then it goes into my brain, and then I can use it for communication. And like these are the two things I spend like most of my time like right now, and like this leads to relationships, which is good. Why this is useful is how YouTube even matters in this situation is this is something very important. This leads to skills, and skills are great. Skills lead to wealth. So I'm not worried about YouTube directly leading to I'm not worried about YouTube directly leading to wealth. If it does, like that's cool. But that's not like the most important thing. And I'll also color these so like some of this can like start to make some sense. Well, this whole YouTube thing it would also is also like pretty easy to like refer to this as like a project. And I need to do like have way more projects going on in general. Projects are basically the way that you gain skills. So this very long-winded thing and all this diagramming is really just to say that I am trying to gain more skills. I know a lot. My brain has so much useless information in it. Just tons of info that has just directly gone into my brain. I've done a lot in general, but like very little of it has been in this kind of like linear process. I do a lot of things in a very like sporadic fashion, I guess. Yeah, just like impulse action. Spontaneous impulse, which leads into a spontaneous action, which leads into a spontaneous result. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And not that this end result is necessarily like the greatest thing ever, but this end result usually can act as a new start point. Woohoo. And then obviously like that new start point can loop back around into the start of the process basically, and that's and a shortened version of that is basically what the like agile workflow is. This just like results in like whatever, stuff's just like happening, and so like maybe you're like getting somewhere through, but like honestly the thing is because everything's just like happening like however it wants to, you like honestly don't know if you've made any progress or not. Whereas over here it might be a little bit more boring, but at least you know what direction you're moving in, since it's like end result, new starting point, end result, new starting point, end result, starting point, end result, starting point, right? And so it's like, you know, this is like fun and stuff, I guess. Not really. It's just chaos. Like over here, at least like you have some like degree of like consistent progress. You might not have like the same kind of like wild ups and downs. But yeah. So, anyways, I think that like for a lot of people, the balance that like creates their happiness tends to be like almost like an overflow of one of these, then sort of like spilling into another one, which I think is actually a really interesting topic for a different video. But like, yeah, like if you're just overflowing in health, right, and you're like, you know, if you're like maxed out, right, just like so much health, right, you have all this like excess, right, like this excess will start to like spill into like your relationships, and then your relationships are like so full that like eventually somehow this like becomes, wealth. But like it also makes sense, it's probably like even more intuitive to see that if you had just like a ridiculous amount of wealth, that it would like, spill into like other things, but not always, right, like it definitely can be a thing where it's like you just have like a ton of wealth spilling out, like just too much wealth. And if it's just like not being put into health and relationships, then you actually end up with this like crazy deficiency, and like this really is now starting to become like a burden, because imagine all these things are attached, right? And so like if you just have like out of control wealth, now this is actually like weighing it down. Like imagine that it's like basically this like pulling everything else, right? It's just like pulling all of the other stuff, you know, into a different space altogether. Um, but yeah, um, not the clearest example, but yeah, there is something very interesting about this idea of like, filling up one of these, in order to like have all of them, but you really want them to be, sort of like sharing with each other, because that's what's gonna create like sustainability in your happiness, and like instead of like mass unpredictability. Anyways, I'm gonna do YouTube. I'm trying to like improve the efficacy of my thinking, um, and I apparently efficacy of my like communication, um, since it felt pretty poor in this. But it's my first attempt, and that's fine. Maybe over time things will improve, and that will be that. So, anyway, and what's funny is like there's actually like so many other reasons why I'm doing YouTube. I just had no idea how to articulate them. I will say the skills thing definitely like is true for sure. Um, but a lot of it is like passion. Um, so like I'm not sure. Like I guess these are the outcomes you're looking for sure. But like, is this also your fuel? Are these your motivators? I guess probably. Like honestly, I think that like my like happiness is definitely like a motivator into like wanting to do YouTube. Um, I've wanted to do it for so long. I don't know why have I wanted to do it for so long. For the skills of it, I don't know, because I think it's cool. Yeah, I guess like for happiness. Um, yeah, I guess like just direct happiness for sure. Interesting. I wonder how that works. Because if you're happy, I think that happiness also contributes to all of these things. Because I guess maybe it's not just a result of these things, right? That's so interesting. I don't know. Health, wealth, relationships, health. I guess maybe it's like mental health. Yeah, maybe if I think about health as like more than just, if I think about health as body and mind, yeah, like all of this starts to make like a lot more sense actually. I'm doing YouTube for my health and also for my wealth, by proxy of skills. Like so directly, I think I would like get like health from it, and then like hopefully you get cool relationships from it as well. And then that definitely does all that. Yeah, so I guess there are some things that like you do in health. I guess health is like really complicated. Um, Especially when you start to like factor in mental health. I guess it's like not that complicated, but it's just like interesting to think about that like there's all kinds of stuff like mastery and like art, that all like factor into specifically the mind section. That's something for sure. And I just remembered I learned the 5 hotkey, and then I just like never used it. That's funny. It's kind of like wind blowing in a certain direction. Anyways, all right. That's all I have for this video. Thank you for watching. Don't subscribe until my videos are good. Yeah. Peace.